good to be back. Hello everybody and welcome to the Jacob Talks Again with Lilley show. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Lilley.
Whoa, what's happening?
I'm not sure, but I'm glad it did. It's a good reminder that everything we do in our day-to-day lives is impacted by electricity and energy.
That's so true. Energy is integral to our lives, and without it, life as we know it would collapse.
So where does all that energy come from, and what should we use to power all of our day-to-day needs?
Well, you see, if we want our kids and grandkids to have the same luxuries we have now, then we'll need to use clean energy.
But what does a clean energy future look like?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's hit the streets and find out what people have to say.
Clean energy future, I think it would revolve around solar power a lot. So I've seen a lot of like cities in Dubai and Saudi Arabia get approved that are like completely based on solar power.
I guess not ideally, but I would say electric cars and recycling properly, but I know that's not the only thing that would help.
Ooh, well, if we can get off fossil fuels, I think that's the ticket. So renewable cars and things that you can use in your home that are renewable energy sources would be the future to me.
Clean energy future for me, it's where, well, ideally we move off of any type of fossil fuels and just use solar and electric. I'm even open to nuclear energy as long as it's supervised and it's not, there's a lot of rules around it, because I think it's a very efficient thing, but of course if it does go wrong, we already know what happens.
I think just like switching our energy sources like away from like non-renewable and more to like renewable sources and like eco-friendly options.
I don't know too much about it, to be honest, but I do know like definitely whatever we're using right now, it's not good.
Well, hopefully one day we can use completely green energy.
Yeah, but until then, we should carpool.
Or at least maybe take the bus, once in a while.
It helps reduce pollution and traffic.
You know, traffic doesn't just affect you, it affects your fellow students and staff as well.
Let's see what they had to say about it.
The buses actually slow me down. If anything, I don't see construction. It's the buses that don't have the little lane like other cities do to let traffic pass. Definitely, of course. And more people would use it, not just students that want to come to Oakville and not have vehicles. But these people are not having reliable transportation to get them from these communities.
It's kind of a pain in the ass, to be completely honest. There's a lot of cars coming through the area. Especially in the morning, oh man, it's hell out there. Usually it takes me like an hour and a half to get here. If people didn't have to drive everywhere, we would have buses that could take us everywhere we need to go, you know?
There's a lot of construction happening right now, and now that winter's starting, it's probably going to get worse. I find it takes a very long time. There's certain points where it goes from 1 lane to 2 lanes, back to 1, back to 2. So there's a lot of merging and a lot of traffic, so it takes a lot longer than it should to get here for sure.
Once you get to Sheridan, you won't have to look far for social life on campus.
The Sheridan Student Union is a great way to connect to your peers, whether it's clubs, events hosted by the SSU, or just hanging out around campus.
We headed out to ask both students and SSU members about the social life at Sheridan.
I found out recently that there's a lot of clubs at this school, which makes that's a fun way to meet people.
I mean, I have a lot of great friends here, and even for the people who I've just haven't been like friends with, everybody's been really friendly. It's been very accepting. There's a lot of stuff to do everywhere too. It's just been a very wonderful environment.
There's a lot more clubs and activities going on. There are SSU events going on basically all the time, and it's so much nicer to be able to go out to these kinds of events and meet people and actually start a social life here at Sheridan.
I'm the president of the Sheridan Student Union. I would say most of our events improve student social life on campus. So we do really try and focus on building community through our events, making sure that a variety of different events are in place to cater to different cultures and different student groups. We do have a few different events that go cross campus. So then we try and blend all of the different communities from each campus into one another and make sure that the students as a whole feel like they're all being represented.
In the SSU, I work as a student life coordinator. Basically, I run, organize, and plan events. For December, we're planning on a Christmas market trip, and also soup it up so students can get free soups.
On our website, you can find all of our information. So anybody that works here, you can basically reach out to them through their email, which can all be found on the website. But honestly, the easiest way of getting in contact with us is just come out to the office and speak to us there.
So it seems that the social life at Sheridan is pretty good, but every coin has two sides. Careful, what you're gonna see might blow your minds.
While Sheridan apparently advertises many events, copious amounts of students appear to be unaware of any activities.
That's right. I've never even heard of these activities. The Marquee has the most welcoming venue, although it seems to be used sparsely. Let's talk about that.
Do I know what happened to all the events? No, I haven't really heard of any events recently. The open mic was over by the Marquee, by the Booster Juice area. Yep. That is the only time I've seen the stage being used. There's been other events held there, but the stage itself is not being used, and I would like for it to be more widely available, but it doesn't seem to be very accessible for any kind of events. First of all, I don't really know where to find out where all the events are. They're kind of spread out. Okay. And then at the same time, there isn't really any good incentives to join the community.
So I heard about some events, I think there was a photography meetup in the Marquee or something like that, but I never heard of any events on the stage or nothing like that. Okay. I live off campus, so I'm not really able to be here late at night or any events, stuff like that, but if I could make it to some sort of event, even amongst my program, I'm in BFTV, then for sure I would like to show up.
I've heard rumors, but I don't want to speculate. I got this job at the SSU. I'm on the marketing street team. They are renovating the Marquee next semester, so I've been told it'll be closed next semester.
Sheridan has been able to create free, safe spaces on campus for events and mingling like the Marquee and the Coffee Loft, which are available for everyone.
Yeah, they recently held a coffee talk for queer students to find a safe space and people similar to them.
That's awesome. I wonder what the Sheridan community has to say about other queer safe spaces around campus.
Let's take a look.
The importance of having safe spaces on campus is just being able to have a space where everybody can feel accepted and be themselves and meet people like them.
Honestly, just provide some relief, some counseling maybe for people, and an area to just be themselves and talk about really whatever they want to talk about.
So it does feel very inclusive here. I do think there needs to be more, because it just feels like a safe space for people when they should have had a safe space this entire time.
Thinking about my relatives growing up, I've got relatives that are queer, and they had to hide who they were for their whole life.
We're giving students the opportunity to find their community in a safe space where they can stay safe and they can get resources and support that they need to be able to help themselves mentally, physically, financially, and we want to make sure that we are broadening our supports to help all students.
It really makes you realize how important it can be to have a safe space to express yourself.
Very true, especially as an art campus. In my opinion, I think Sheridan Trafalgar might have the most ways to show your true colors. Get it? Arts, colors.
In fact, let's see how the arts have affected the populace of the school.
As a student here at Sheridan, arts are everything for me. This is an art school. I like the creative energy that we feel here. I think arts are very important. It's our way of kind of expressing who we are. People I talk to in illustration, animation, BFTV, craft and design, they all express themselves, and their art is a badge of honor to them.
I've been focused on the arts for most of my education. Arts are very important because they're a great way to learn more about society and learn more about ourselves, tell stories, share things, start conversations, solve problems. It's a very fundamental part of the human experience.
The arts are extremely important to me. I am an artist myself. It was really wonderful to be surrounded by a lot of different artists and seeing how every art is different and the way people express themselves is different, and I think it's just beautiful as long as they're not sending a hateful message.
I kind of have
an obsession with exploring my voice. That's actually why I like one of my classes, conceptual process, because the point is to just explore where all the art comes from before you actually put a pencil to the paper. It's like, where does the idea actually come from? And even also throughout my life, I tend to procrastinate on like everything, but art is one of those things that I've always come back to.
The arts are super important to me. I feel like most of my life I go home and I'm like either consuming art or creating art. College is a good place for me to kind of get to focus on that a bit more than I did in high school.
You know, I consider myself to be a bit of an artiste.
And I'm a proud patron of the arts. That's why I'm always patronizing you.
Ugh. You're always on my case about something. I love what I do, but I'm this close to switching careers whenever you talk to me.
No one's stopping you. And hey, life is long. Plenty of time to get away from me. In fact, we spoke with some students in ceramics who did just that. Switch careers, I mean, not get away from me.
Before I came to Sheridan, I went to the University of Waterloo, and from the first day of classes, I instantly knew that university was just not for me. I was working at a pottery studio in my hometown at the time, and that's when I found my love for ceramics. So I found this program, and I still wanted a bachelor's degree, so this was kind of a good compromise. I'm working in making teapots and jars, but my favorite thing would probably be mugs, just because who doesn't use a mug? I think it's such a beautiful thing that I can take my innermost thoughts and I can kind of spit them out and give them to the world, that I can turn my 2D imagination into a 3D thing.
Right now I'm working on a body of work that articulates my ADHD through mark making. So I'm kind of translating how my ADHD manifests. Ceramics is special because it's very tactile. I love that I can work with the medium directly. I have so much control over it. It reminds me a lot of cooking, really.
So I started ceramics over a decade ago, but I've decided to go to school in order to formalize my knowledge. When you are in the ceramics program, I would say treat it as a place to learn and to explore. Find something that you enjoy, because you're going to be spending a lot of time doing it.
Simply inspiring.
Agreed, I got a lot out of that. I think we hit all of the hometown favorites: the local scene, campus life, art,
and clean energy. You know, we're running out of time to change the structure of society. By the year 2030, the atmosphere will...
A big thank you to everyone watching, all of you at home and our adoring studio audience. Hold for applause, please.
Thank you. We love you too. Well, signing off from TV Production Process 1, it's Jacob Mayhew.
And Lilley, good night.
Good night.